Good evening, everyone. I am going to be calling the meeting to order in about 30 seconds, so folks can just get settled, and then I'll call the meeting to order formally. Alrighty, I'm going to call the meeting to order if folks could be assembled. It is 7:01. Let us begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. And Jack, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alrighty, I have a few requests for amendments to the agenda. There are three requests that I have for amendments. The first one is if we could move citizens' comments up to after the item D, presentation or proclamation of Beck's Home and Garden. There are some folks who wanted to make public comments, but they need to leave a little earlier, so I want to make sure they're able to. Number two, I would like to add under item I, it's new subsection 5, review and approve an appropriation with the special revenue funds for the 2025-2026 budgets. And then finally, under item P, I'd like to add F and G for Anthony LaCava for consideration for charter review and Douglas Winneman for consideration for charter revision as well. So those would be two additional applications in addition to the other ones we're considering this evening, an additional item under finance, and then finally moving citizens' comments up so folks who want to make those comments can do so before having to leave.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I would go back to P, whatever is it now, it's still P1. It's not P1, so is it Q1? If we,
Informational items?
it's still P1 because it was before. And I would make, instead of appointments, consideration, so the record reflects correctly that you're considering the below for appointments.
Sure, appointments / consideration, is that good? Okay. So with those are the three proposed amendments. Do I have a motion in favor of those three amendments? Motion made by Brian.
Second.
Seconded by Jack. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor of amending the agenda accordingly, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries unanimously. Now can I have a motion to approve the amended agenda?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
what about the reappointment under P?
Yes, thank you. Amanda, item P2A, it says that Judy's term for reappointment to the Youth Advisory Board ends in May 1st, 2025. Should that say 26 or 27?
I'd say 26.
Okay. So I'll accept an amendment to amend item P2A to have Judy's appointment end in 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Made by Paula, second by Jack. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries unanimously. Now I'll take a motion to approve the amended agenda as amended by those two different amendments.
So moved.
Made by Paula,
Second.
second by Jack. Any further discussions on that? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Opposed, abstention, motion carries unanimously. Okay, we will now move on to item D, which is our presentation of proclamation to Beck's Home and Garden. To begin the recognition ceremony, I'd like to see if the EDC Commission would like to address the crowd and the family to indicate why they made the selection. Former Mayor Steve Fortenbach, current EDC Chair, is here to begin the presentation. You can, if you want the mic, if you want.
Make sure it's on.
And then, Steve, do you and anyone you want to be recognized with, you want to come up to the dais somewhere around here, so that way? Yeah. Come on up.
Are we good?
Anywhere you want in the dais area. Yeah, you're good, Steve. And then if EDC wants to go stand with Steve or stand with the business owner.
So the Economic Development Committee started quarterly recognition of businesses. Our first was obviously Zero's, for those of you that were aware. So we decided for the second quarter, we wanted to pick something that was, fitting for the time of year. So something, landscape oriented. So after some deliberation and actually some really compelling words by some of our members that have worked with Mr. Beck, we as a group voted unanimously to select Beck's Home and Garden for our second quarter Business Recognition Award. So Town of Cromwell Economic Development Commission Business of the Second Quarter of 2025 Award presented on April 30th. We're a few days late, but that's okay. April 30th, 2025 by Mayor James Demetriadis and Economic Development Chairman Steve Fortenbach.
And then I would like to, hold on, don't go anywhere yet. And Steve, you're gonna come back on over here too. So in addition to the plaque from the town and the Economic Development Commission, I also have a Office of the Mayor Business of the Quarter recognition proclamation for you. I'll read it and then I want to just make a couple words about yourself. So whereas it's the mission of the Town of Cromwell's Economic Development Commission to recognize and celebrate contributions of local businesses that demonstrate excellence in their field, a commitment to community and high quality service, whereas Beck's Home and Garden exemplifies those values through their work as a licensed arborist and ornamental turf specialist offering expert landscaping, fertilization, tree services, and more throughout the spring, summer, and fall. Whereas through hard work and over 20 years of outstanding service, Beck's Home and Garden has contributed to the beauty and growth of our town, supporting the local economy and the local economic vitality and the standard for small business success. And therefore, the Economic Development Commission and I, as mayor, would like to recognize you with this proclamation as well.
Great.
And I've known the Becks for a really long time, and Steve does and his crew do outstanding and amazing work, but they're also just such good people. You and your family are community oriented, you're advocates, you're activists, you are always there willing to help out people, and I know I joined you guys for your 20th celebration, I think last spring, and I'm glad that you're finishing your 20th year with this recognition because you guys really deserve it, so congratulations.
Great. Thanks again.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Let's just do one more group picture, and then do you want to do any comments to the group? Or are you good?
Sure.
Okay, good. Floor is yours, Steve.
Okay. I guess I'd just like to thank my family. I'd like to thank Joe, who's been working with me for about 12 years now, and trained as an arborist. And I'd like to thank Pride's Corner Farm, who's just a fantastic business and asset to this town, Garden Dream, and also the Scovilles, who also kind of support us, and we all work together as a team, and we get a lot of trees planted in this town and all over. So thanks for everything.
Congratulations. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you again, and thank you for EDC for all their work on making this program possible. I think it's a really great way for us to say to small businesses that we not only care about recruiting you to town, but we care about keeping you here in town and making sure that you feel valued. So thank you to Chairman Fortenbach and the rest of the team for all their work on it. Alrighty, moving on to Commission Chairman report, liaison reports, and staff reports. I see Rosanna is here from the middle school. You also have in your packet reports from Kara, Amy, and from Scott. Oh, that's right, citizens' comments. Yeah, let's do citizens' comments next. Thank you. I like our council. We keep each other on track. So now, at this point, I will recognize any citizens' comments. If you could come up to the microphone and identify yourself for the record, and your name and address, and then go ahead. You have 2 minutes. Any citizens' comments?
Boy, it feels funny to be on this side of the podium. So, I'm gonna warn you guys, I have chemo brain, for real. so instead of just talking, I'm gonna read, and hopefully I can get through this. This is gonna blow your socks off, and I'm so excited to be able to present this. So, good evening, Mayor Dimitriadis, Deputy Mayor Waters, esteemed members of the Town Council, and Town Manager Salvatore, but most of all, Amanda. I am here, well, I had Amanda's position. She's my predecessor, and I know all the hard work she does and what a wonderful team she is for the town of Cromwell. So, I am here tonight representing a dear friend who wishes to remain anonymous in the matter of what I have been asked to present to you tonight. Recently, he and I were discussing the large number of gift cards that they have. I mentioned that they might want to think about donating some to a senior center, and they could be used for bingo prizes. And he asked where the Cromwell Senior Center was located, and I replied that it is part of the town hall. So I mentioned that building a senior center was a dream of the town manager and present and previous town councils, but some other projects always took precedence. I told him the senior center and dining room were refreshed, but challenged by the small amount of space. For example, the pool players and those participating in quiet activities always banged heads. Am I right? No. The food bank was recently expanded, but still remains challenged by the small space and lack of equipment to store healthy choices to add to their diet. So a few days later, much to my amazement, my dear, beyond generous friend said he gave this much thought and proclaimed that he is going to build and donate a senior center to the town of Cromwell.
That's incredible. I mean, I have so many questions. Go on.
Okay, so he requests a meeting with Town Manager Salvatore to discuss the steps that must be taken by both himself and the town to bring this endeavor to fruition post haste. I have to reiterate vigorously, the benefactor wishes to remain anonymous. I sincerely hope that this council gratefully accept this generous contribution with the one requirement of anonymity. Thank you.
Thank you. So Tony, I think to follow up on that, will you work with Ree to set up a meeting to see what the situation is?
Yes, and what I'd like to do is have the council's permission to use staff to investigate the feasibility of working within whatever the appropriate amount that the gentleman is willing to donate. But I understand it's significant.
Oh, wow. Well, this is outstanding. God's gifts come in strange ways sometimes. So this is
All talking about gift cards and donating to a senior center. I mean, it just blows my mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, he's a dear friend of mine. He is the most generous human being I have ever met in my life.
I would say so.
For the record, he does not live in Cromwell.
Wow. Wow. Well,
So,
Has he ever lived in Cromwell?
no.
No, okay.
No. He has a lot of friends who happen to be seniors in Cromwell, though. And he's looked at other senior citizen centers through the state, and some of them are very, very nice. And he wants to do that for Cromwell.
Wow.
And it's, you know, I told him he's just being selfish because it's a gift that keeps on giving. You know, many generations of seniors will be able to go and enjoy it. He wants it to be, well, I'm not going to say what I want to say, but he wants it to be really nice. I was going to say the cat's ass, so so I'm going to just say it.
Well said.
the bee's knees. There we go.
So,
Nothing's changed.
no, I still, you know, the older I get, the fresher I get. What am I going to say? But
Sure.
I think this is unbelievable.
Wow.
I told you, did I not
You said it
tell
would
you?
blow, you said it, you said that I would blow my socks off, and it does.
Yeah.
That is incredible.
It blew my sock. Well, I'm a senior.
I was
you know.
thinking that Rhea was saying she was gonna come back and join town hall, and maybe she'd be,
They
I was
don't-
thinking, we just put on the new seasonals, maybe she's coming
They
back.
they
but
don't need
this
me.
is
They
even-
have Amanda, and Amanda is fabulous, so they don't need me anymore.
I agree, Amanda is fabulous, but.
And you know
this is-
something, Amanda, it's much nicer to be on this side, because I can leave. You gotta stay there. It's being like on an airplane. You don't get off until they open the doors. So, I don't know if you have any questions, but,
Mrs. Mattis, I do.
Go ahead, Al.
You tell that gentleman he's gained a lot of new friends.
Yes, he has.
he has, but he will remain anonymous.
No, that's fine, but as far as, he's gained a lot of new friends
I
right
know.
here and in the room.
I told him, you guys all wanted to do this, you really did, but everything just pops up and there's more and more things that people request, and they always seem to take a back seat, and so
So true.
I think this is a fabulous thing.
Yep.
So, I don't know what questions I could answer, I'm just his spokesman.
I was just gonna say, thanks for the presentation.
You're welcome. Okay,
Yeah.
so,
Thank you. Any other
amazing,
questions?
isn't it?
Brian, do you have a question? Or-
Do we have an idea of spatially where we would put this?
Well, I think possibly if we want to consider the remainder of Pearson Park in the back, it actually would be an ideal location possibly. And we could offset it with some amenities that could be used both by the seniors and the park, such as bocce courts. I think actually that would be a real good location. And if we use town land, then it gives us more funds to spend on the facility and FFE.
Yeah. Wow, this is a gift, and gifts come in strange ways, so this is a wonderful way to get it, and to your anonymous
Pennies from
friend,
heaven,
yes, to your anonymous friend, thank you.
yes.
This is beyond
I'm sure
anything I
he-
could have expected.
I'm sure that, he's watching.
Oh my gosh, thanks doesn't say enough.
I know.
I mean, it's
I'm-
incredible.
I'm awestruck.
That's a good word for
it.
it. Awestruck is a
Yeah.
really good word
And
for
you're
it.
still gonna get the gift certificates for the senior bingo.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You have
Nice
to,
to
you
see
have to turn
everybody.
those in, okay?
Pardon me?
Make sure you deliver them to me.
Okay, you're gonna take me to lunch? Yeah. All right.
Ree, thank you for
Thank
the,
you, Ree.
thank you for the good news. Now, I hate to ask this, but are there any other citizens' comments? I don't know if anyone wants to go after that.
Any other
but-
citizens that want to make an anonymous donation?
Mr. Root, whenever you're ready, sir. And are you also, do you also have an anonymous donor friend who is,
Unfortunately, I'm not.
Okay.
This was a hard act to follow. Mrs.
Okay,
Mattis. It's
okay.
wonderful.
forgive you?
Congratulations. Good evening. At a special meeting on September 11th, 2024, Town Council authorized and directed the payment of $2 million Gilead settlement honored before October 10, 2024. The financial report for October 2024 did not include the disbursement of this settlement amount, and at the regular meeting on November 13th, 2024, there was no mention in any of the reporting, financial or otherwise, of the payment of this amount. In the April 2025 financial report, the disbursement of the $2 million settlement amount, as well as the related $1.4 million of legal fees, are reflected in line 015 legal expense. I am curious as to why it took from October 2024 until April 2025 for this initial disbursement to be reported. And I am interested to understand how line item 015 legal expense budget can be increased by $3.4 million from the town approved budget value for that line item of $235,000 round numbers, approved at the May 7th, 2024 budget referendum. And I again find it interesting that the reporting of this item does not apparently warrant disclosure in the narrative to the April financial reports. To quote the narrative, open quote, expenditures are basically in line with expectations this point in the fiscal year. Close quote. Thank you.
Thank you. And the comments you handed Amanda reflect the line items that you were talking about specifically? Yes. Okay, thank you. Any other citizens' comments? Any other donations to the town? No? Okay, I gotta try. Now I have to ask every time. We'll take it. Okay, now I'll move on to commission chairman reports, liaison reports, and staff reports you have in your packet. A number of reports from the different departments. Scott has his information in there, including the sponsorship information from the farmers market. So far, they've had $5,900 in business sponsorships to help fund it, and so that's really positive. You also in Amy's packet, it's Older Americans Month. I want to thank the Ukrainian American Cultural Center for donating their ballroom for the seniors to have their murder mystery event, which can now hold up to 120 seniors for this year's event. As somebody said earlier tonight, space is at a premium in the senior center, so for now, and a space and a premium at the senior center. So having the Ukrainian American Cultural Center donate their new ballroom to the seniors for use of that event is very much appreciated. And then otherwise, Kara has in her packet information about the 3D printing that the library offers, as well as information on the June 6th and June 7th book sale that the Friends of the Library will be hosting. And in person, I do see some representatives from the building committee. So do you have any building committee updates that you'd like to give during the liaison reports that aren't in your packet, or do you want to expound on anything in your packet? Okay. And also included in your packet is an invitation for the CMS PTO fundraiser for the last walkthrough of the old school. I'm looking for the date on the poster for that. What's the date of the CMS fundraiser?
May 28 or 9.
May 20, I thought it was May 29, but yeah. Yeah, May 29, there it is, there it is. May 29, so that will be very exciting for a final walkthrough of what I think everyone who graduated from Cromwell schools, either their high school or their middle, it was my middle school. Paula, was it your high school?
Yes.
Okay, there you go. Alrighty, I will move on to my mayor's update. Let me pull up my notes, and then I will submit this electronically to Amanda once I make it look a little neater. Under drafts. Okay. So this month I attended the Attlebrook 2025 Alliance Walk, raising money to support, uplift, and celebrate people in the autistic community, in the autism community. It rained, and it was actually it snowed and then rained. So it was a little chilly for early April, but it was a really great event. We had the opening of the Little League field this last month, which was really great to see that working, and the lights being debuting as well. I attended a swearing in with the chief and the captain for our newest police officer, James Volkler. I attended with, I don't know if Jay Polk is still in the room, but with Jay and Stuart and Chris, the Middlesex Chamber of Commerce had a meeting with this group called Advanced CT, and what they do is they bring industry into Connecticut and help recruit businesses to make jobs here. And so they presented about how municipalities can help partner with them by identifying parcels of land for economic development, so they can try to find a suitor that would want to build something or bring jobs to that particular location. And I know Stuart and him are connecting. And we also on May 8th had the ribbon cutting for the Richard C. Nobile Field House with his family members and wife in attendance. And it was a really nice ceremony to recognize somebody who's made a huge impact on the town. And I want to thank this council for approving not only the additional funds to have that building be weatherized, but also for approving the name of the building to be named after him. I think it's going to be a really fitting honor for him. He's going to be able to watch all the plays moving forward and coach from afar. And if I joked to his wife, I said if we're doing really lousy, maybe he can bring a rainstorm in and kind of wash the game out so we don't have to finish the bad play. But it was a really nice ceremony. We got to tour that facility, which is now open. I understand that the Rec Commission is having meetings there And the PTO is using it for some meetings as well, so it's nice to have additional meeting space available for the town outside of the players' season. A couple other updates for everyone. In June, I will be going to the Fire Commission meeting. You may recall that we had talked with the Fire Commission about merging elections and merging their budget votes, so everyone just has to come out one time for each. They rejected that at their April meeting. I asked them to reconsider, and maybe was a little too zealous in my advocacy to do so, but we've chatted it over, and I think we're on good footing now. So we've asked them to reconsider, and I'm going to go present in June to see if they would be willing to reconsider one or both of those motions to not have those events be merged. But I am pleased to say that we are moving forward with merging IT services and going out to bid together as one unit for an IT vendor for both the fire district and the town, and we're actively working on that right now, which I think is a huge step forward. Some other highlights, I met with the Connecticut Department of Economic and Community Development for the cultural district with Paula Luna was there with me, and we did a walkthrough of downtown with one of their liaisons, and I called it like a first date. It went very well. They want to come back, and they're going to be coming back in June to get a full tour. The deputy commissioner of the agency will be coming, as will some members of the tourism board. So we'll make sure that everything is spruced up and bright and sunny and ready to go as we try to get that cultural tourism district designation, which I think will be really great to highlight Cromwell's Main Street. Our current goal is to try to encompass all of Main Street. However, the discussions we've been having is about making it a walkable, dense area, and then having attractions that are outside of the district. So we're having ongoing discussions about how we can try to encompass more of Main Street rather than just squatly downtown, because we have a lot of businesses and other things that are really unique up and along all of Main Street, including multiple garden groweries, historic homes, really nice businesses. So we want to try to figure out a way we can get the tourism designation, but also highlight all of the businesses that we have. And otherwise, those are my situation other municipalities find themselves in, where their pensions are funded at 60 or 50%, where we're in the 90s. So over 90, I think 90, I can't remember the exact number, but it's in the mid to high 90% funded. So we're doing very well for our pension fund. And I'll accept any questions if anyone has questions for me. Okay, hearing none, then Mr. Town Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You left out Saturday. We went to Ukraine.
Oh, that's right.
National Home and welcomed a new business.
That's right.
To Cromwell, and we were treated to traditional dancing and customs of the Ukraine National Home. And I was very impressed with some of the dancing that both the males and the females did. It was pretty exciting, and I think it's a good addition to the community. I know Mr. Spina can speak a little bit more to it, but we didn't. Our crews did an outstanding job. We took some of the leaves that we normally deposit on a piece of land here in Cromwell and till under, and we made some compost, and Lou can correct me, but I believe we gave away, after they screened it with the bucket that we bought a couple of months ago, we gave away about 200 yards to the citizens. We dumped it at the community garden parking lot, and I think in most cases, before they could get it off the truck, people were there shoveling it into the back of their pickups, 5-gallon pails and everything. So I can't say enough about our crew, and to take it one step further and to screen it. It was really nice material. The other thing is, I believe Monday night we had a situation that in all my years here in Cromwell never occurred before, with a bleacher tipping over, and I had the police department investigated it. I also asked the town engineer to look at it, and the rec director, and it appears that the bleacher was on uneven ground and top-heavy at the time of the incident. And had it been on level ground, in all likelihood, this incident would not have occurred. But because of where it was situated, that added to the problem, as well as too many individuals at the top tier. And it was only a 3-tier. It's very. We also checked with other communities and what they do, and basically everybody was pretty much the same as us. There's really not too much to do. However, we are going to continue to look at possibilities of maybe, and I'm not saying we are going to do it, but we're looking at possibly fastening them down. But the problem with that is it will cause a little bit of inconvenience for our Parks and Grounds crew if they have to mow around it. Would require them to do more weed whacking. However, we are going to still investigate it, and but as long as it's on level ground, and you can almost see where it was on level ground and it was moved further out, and from what the police report reflected, it was on level ground. So with that, that's all I have right now.
Okay. Any questions for the town manager? I'll start with my left with Brian.
Do we have the means or a way to stake these down, secure them, so that?
We've been looking into it. Nobody stakes. However, that's one of the things that we are exploring. And again, as I stated, we contacted a number of municipalities. Nobody stakes the bleachers as long as they're on level ground. Again, we're considering it, but again, that would require, in likelihood, a little bit more effort on the Parks and Grounds, because they would have to weed whack around them rather than mow if they are staked.
Is there any way to do some site work to level the ground and then gravel it or something like that, so that there's constant, and that doesn't need to be mowed, but is constant level and hard, so that we don't have to worry about 4 inches of rain in a week or
That wasn't the
softening
problem.
things?
The
No, I know, I'm
problem
just saying.
It was dragged from over by the dugouts out to the outfield. And the outfield was, where it was positioned was uneven, but where it was on level ground. So had someone not dragged it out to the outfield, which in and of itself, I suppose they did it for a better view, but I wouldn't want to be out there when somebody hit a foul ball into the bleachers. But it was up further behind the fenced area.
Do we know, I mean, if we don't know yet, do we know who moved it or who gave permission to have it moved to that new site?
No, but I've been told in the past, individuals have moved them on their own. Not our crew. Individuals observing the games.
Any other questions for the town manager?
The only other thing I wanted to ask is there a system in place where somebody is checking safety-wise on everything that we have, you know, whether it be playscapes, whether it be whatever, like once a month, doing some sort of a safety check on preventively?
Well, Parks and Grounds maintains all those equipment, and I would assume that they would be looking at that as they go through their normal functions. And in addition, any safety concerns in the past have been brought to the director's attention, and either if it was the playscape, it's shut down, or a portion of it shut down until we have gotten it repaired.
Deputy Mayor Waters.
Mr. Salvatore, you mentioned the Ukrainian club?
Yep.
And they were dancing.
Excuse me?
The Ukrainian club dancers.
Yes.
You weren't there jitterbugging, were you?
No. And neither was the mayor.
I think if either of us tried to do the dances that those young men and women were doing, we would be both still on the floor.
Thank you.
Probably be at Middlesex.
We probably would. Tony, just one quick question. Last meeting, or 2 meetings ago, we had talked about the prospect of having the school staff who does the field maintenance for them merge into the town field maintenance, and we had asked if Claudio could help gather together some data about, what is their budget, what's their equipment maintenance budget, what equipment do they have, and then, the feasibility of, what's his salary versus what are our staff's salaries. Is it easy to have him come over to our staff and then be able to streamline all the park maintenance to be under one umbrella, instead of having one guy who does up to the fence line and then somebody else does the other side of the fence line. It doesn't seem like a efficient use of space, and I know we had talked about trying to get that information. Has there been any progress on that?
Mr. Spina can speak. He's been having meetings with Claudio, and he could speak to some of that. And in addition, our crew has been doing one of the schools for the Board of Education, the WIS. We've been doing all the way up, including around the school.
Okay, great. Yeah, I think that's just an opportunity for unification that makes sense.
It may alleviate a lot of our understaffed issues too, and getting, preparation, field preparation done, everything else. If we could take Joe out of their budget and add him to our crew, and with the extra help that we put in the budget this year, it may be very beneficial to us, field-wise, maintaining all the fields and everything else.
Well, we would have to negotiate at some point with Joe's union. We are in discussion with the Board of Ed.
Who is he part of the custodian union, or is he part of the non-certified staff union?
I think he's non-certified staff.
Okay.
Because he's not one of the custodians.
Okay.
Do you know, Lou? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Non-certified staff. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, non-certified.
Okay. Great. Jack, any questions for the town manager? Thank you.
Nope, no question.
And Julia. Okay. So I've gotten a couple messages that the YouTube feed isn't working properly right now. So do we want to take a quick 2-minute recess just to troubleshoot it, or is this not something we can troubleshoot during a break?
I've done all that I can do. I am texting IT right now, and they're checking it out.
Okay. So we'll keep going if the powers that be have been alerted and they're working on it. Okay, so we'll move on to item I, which is our budget report. I'll recognize our finance director. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm all over the place today. Item H, Town Council Liaison Reports. I'll start with you, Paula. Do you have any Town Council Liaison Reports for us?
Yeah, I attended the Library Commission meetings on April 14th and on May 12th. And as James reported, on May 7, Mayor James, Kelly Salemi, the chair of the Cultural District Commission, and I met with Eric Dillner of the Arts and Culture Division of the State of Connecticut and Kimberly Parsons Whitaker of the Connecticut Office of the Arts for a walkthrough in the center of town. And then last night, the Cultural District had another meeting.
And just a question on that. I wasn't able to make it last night. I was in I had something for work. I'm not going to bore you with it. But what I saw the email thread. They want to have another special meeting later this week or next week.
Right. As you know, Kimberly Parsons Whitaker was more interested in narrowing what
She wants it to be walkable.
walkable and, yeah, narrowing it down. So we had a meeting last night, and no one was in favor of that. They wanted expanded more, at least up to Court Street.
Okay, so we'll have to,
We're gonna have a Zoom call, in the next few days. Kelly sent out an email.
I saw, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if the council has any opinions on that. You know, our current application has all of Main Street in it, to highlight the Northern Cromwell businesses on Main Street and also the TPC and the state park. The state wanted it to be more compact and walkable and emphasize walkability and compactness and have it just be that Riverport area plus the downtown area to the Historical Society. They felt like that was much more condensed and walkable and what they imagined. I mean, do we stick with the application where we try to say we want it all to be in there? Or do we kind of take that feedback and focus it and down on that one central area? And then try to expand it later. I don't know how people feel about one way or the other, because she was talking about maybe having an initial one and then expanding it to have a second
Yeah,
one
well,
later.
That
but-
was not the consensus
Yeah.
at the meeting last night. They think that it should go up to Court Street.
Yeah.
And down this way out to, the cemetery.
Okay.
Behind Pearson Park, you know, so it's a lot less than what we had applied with. So it's kind of a compromise, so Kelly's working on that.
Okay. Does anyone have strong feelings? to
And
give
then I
them
believe,
feedback on?
the ordinance has to be redone.
The ordinance is larger, so.
Yeah, it would have to be redone, right, okay,
Okay.
so that's where that all stands.
Okay. Does
And
anyone
I
have strong
think-
feelings on that to give the committee feedback as they try to navigate that?
The only thing that I would ask is, what's the, if this is for the state.
Correct.
You're having the conversations with them, is there knowledge about what they are willing to do, or is what we've heard what they're willing to do? Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Can we push this envelope, or?
She seemed pretty hesitant. When we met with her, she seemed pretty hesitant about pushing she said, we're really looking for compact walkability. You know, you spend a couple hours walking around, popping into different places, and then maybe you get in your car and go somewhere else. But the district is a compact, walkable area with a number of attractions within it.
But you could walk up Main
I-
Street, there's
we
a
have sidewalks the
sidewalk, you
entire
can
way.
go
You're
up
right.
to Holy Apostles and, the Valor
Green, yeah.
Memorial Green up there, and,
Well, and I think that would be, I think she asked how long it was from the TPC Golf Club Road to downtown, and it's like
yeah, that.
No, she
I-
asked how far it was to where Nostalgia is, where the other businesses
Yes,
are,
that's right,
and
and you looked it up, and it was like, 2.5 miles?
I think it
or
was
so,
like
or 2 miles?
it was like 2 miles on the nose when I dropped the pin.
Well, if you're a walker, it's walkable.
I agree. I'm just trying to figure out how to navigate the state on that.
Yeah, and you've probably got, I'm just gonna pick a number, 12 businesses.
Oh, absolutely.
Going up that
And
way, of all
historic-
different types,
historic
Well,
restaurants
and that
and.
part of what's really unique about that, what I'll call the North Main Street business area, is you have some really good restaurants, some really good community businesses, but you also have Gardener's Dream. You have the other farm. You have.
You're going way beyond.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, up there, you have
Yeah,
a bunch of really
absolutely.
unique businesses
Right.
that I think are attractions in their own right and draw a lot of
Yeah.
people.
And that is my point, that
Yeah.
we've got a lot of that up there, and why not include it unless.
And it's all in a public bus line too, so if you can't walk up the hill, you can take the public bus.
Right.
Is it possible to have 2 districts or no?
She said that is
Yeah.
something that we could consider resubmitting with 2 districts.
But for the moment, don't want to be as small as Kimberly
Yeah.
thought.
Yeah.
We want it to be expanded, but not even as large as we talked about,
Okay.
so. And Eric Dillner, is that his name?
Yeah.
I think he's for it.
Yeah.
So, we'll see.
What are we getting out of this?
So
What is the main goal or purpose of, to get us on the map? To increase tourism?
Yeah, so if the cultural district application is accepted, the state of Connecticut can will, number one, put us on their tourism website as one of their, like, Visit CT cultural attraction, like town squares, town villages, town places to go. They'll also advertise events that the town has or community events have in that area. And then there is state money that DECD has available for partnership grants and funding. It's not a ton of money, but it is some money that is available for culture and arts. So for example, if our Economic Community Development or our EDC wanted to do, I don't know, buy new signs, or they could apply, and because it's a cultural district, the state would help pay for those signs. That would be an example of it, assuming, again, the state continues to fund these kind of things. They could change their mind anytime, but that would be the idea, to get not only tourism so people come and visit us, but also the quid pro quo there is that because we're attracting tourists, the state will want to invest in tourists coming and visiting the state. And, you know, we have a beautiful riverfront, we have a historic, I love downtown Cromwell. So like, I think all of Main Street has a lot to offer along the whole length. So if you're a recreationalist, the TPC and the state park, if you're a hunter, you can join the private fish and game club, like there's dozens and dozens of acres of land. So I think there's like a lot of variability along our Main Street. So I'll give you guys updates on, Paula will give you guys updates on what the commission decides to do. Brian, any updates for you for liaison reports?
No, you pretty much filled us in on the whole fire district. We know how the vote went.
Yeah. Al?
Thank you. At Monday's senior commission, the members met Maura, the new health coordinator. She gave a very nice presentation, of brief presentation, but very to the point. And I think she's going to work out real good for this town. I'm impressed with her, and I think everybody else was impressed with her. I also, with the EDC, I attended the ribbon cutting for the Richard C. Noble Fieldhouse, which was very nice, and the family was there, which you mentioned. Now, I don't know if the town mayor or town manager can have anything done about this, but for years, on a corner of Field Road and Main Street, and I have to say, Tony, you've probably seen this and a bunch of other people, the debris, where the old trees have been sitting there. So we're gonna be getting a lot of guests coming to town. And
You mean Golf Club Road?
I'm sorry,
Field Road?
Golf Club Road, I'm sorry. Golf Club, somebody cut trees down there years ago, and it looks terrible.
So it's on Golf Club?
Golf Club, right as you turn on the Golf Club, left or right, it's a big tree, it's right there, and I don't know who owns the property, Gardner,
On the north side,
on the north side.
we'll look
It
into
looks,
We'll look into it and see if we can have it removed.
because otherwise, it looked kind of terrible for the
Yep.
town of
We'll
Cromwell.
take a look at it and we'll look into it and see if we can get it removed.
And the other thing is, I know we had some windy weather, et cetera, and before TP starts, is it possible you can have the highway department or whoever's in charge of it go around making sure the flags are all in station? Because when we had the wind, a lot of those flags got hung up on the telephone poles, so it wasn't appropriate. But I would just making the town look presentable.
We'll address that also.
Thank you. I have nothing else.
Jack?
Let's see, we had a few things. One, Recreation Commission, you probably saw a little card, June 6th is the Riverport, the opening day, and that's part of the recreation area. Also, there was a lot of discussion about fields work, new machines that are gonna be available. Mike Conant was there, and he did a terrific job of explaining basically how it's gonna work, what the pluses are gonna be, and then what some of the challenges will be as well. And I know he's here, so I don't know if you're gonna mention anything about any of this tonight or not. No, it's a no. Okay, you're just here to hear me say what I'm saying. So anyway, it looks like there could be some really good opportunities there. Conservation Commission is working on a number of pieces. I think they're part of their mission statement and a number of other, issues. And let's see, what was the other thing? I talked about the opening ceremony, Mike, conservation. I think that's it for right now. Thank you.
And Jack, you just brought up something that triggered a bubble in my head.
Glad I could help.
Thanks. I'm thinking about that metaphor now. And it's gone. It'll come back. Go ahead, Ann. Yes. So let me ask this to you, Ann. Are there any boards or commissions that you would like to be assigned to be the liaison to? Right now, I think we kind of, Stacy, Stacy had, I don't remember which one do we remember which commission Stacy was the liaison to? Okay. So why don't we chat offline and see which commissions we can get you appointed to be the liaison to, and we can move from there. And then Julia.
Well, I tried to attend virtually the last planning and zoning, and unfortunately, the only one I could hear was the chairman. Mr. Canada was the chairman. Before I just decided I couldn't really hear it all, they did mention there was a berm at 48 Nooks Hill Road that was ordered to be removed.
Yes.
And that doesn't sound easy, but anyway, they didn't remove it, and they were fined like a fairly large amount, 150 a day or something like that.
50 a day.
And so that, ultimately, they did remove the berm. Then there was an issue of a tiny house, and I guess it's a tiny house, but there were problems with it. I guess I can't remember what they were, but they thought possibly they could solve the problems by considering it an alternate, alternative dwelling unit, as long as it met the setbacks, and that's sort of as far as I got. So the next meeting, I may have to go in person, so I can hear. Sorry.
Amanda, please, if, whatever IT needs to do to get in here, and we have a new system, okay, yeah.
But the problem, Her Honor is describing is if you don't use your mics, that's the problem. If the chair was being heard, and that means the other participants are not using their mics.
Okay, thank you.
But to bring it to your attention, we are up and running, it was repaired.
Okay, the live feed right now is back up? Okay, cool.
And the entire meeting audio will be put online.
Okay, thank you. Oh, yeah,
It's Board of Ed, Charter Revision, and Wetlands.
okay. And do those sound like something you're interested in tackling, any of those three? Or all three? Wetlands, Charter Revision, and Board of Ed. Yeah, why don't you think about it? Yeah, wetlands is up your alley, that's true. So contemplate on those three. And then while the topic of liaisons are up, I'd like with the building committee's schedule moving forward, I know they have the next 3 meetings on here. If we, maybe Amanda can send out an email and everyone can sign up to go to one of the building committee meetings, and we can kind of rotate so that there's always one of us at one of their meetings moving forward. I know that's been a pressure point in the past, and I'd like to try to get us on a rotation with that. So Amanda, would you mind sending us a email with their dates for the rest of the year, and then like a Google Doc or something, and people can just fill in the dates that they can do, and that way we can kind of try to fill up the whole roster?
I have a report about the police department.
Oh, sure.
I called the chief. I was running my normal route, and I was
I thought you were about to say you were running from the police, and I was like,
during school hours.
Yes.
And I was running across the parking lot of the middle school, and I was very nicely flagged down by I guess he was the officer there. He told me that was not permitted, and but it was the nicest yelling at I've ever gotten.
It was the first time an officer yelled at a judge.
I knew it was a joke, but
running with robes?
No, no.
Okay, that's fair, that's fair. That would be something. Well, thank you, and Chief, you know, kudos to the professionalism of your team, for handling that interaction well. Alrighty, so moving on now to financial items, budget report, item, is that I? I1, budget report. I'll recognize our finance director.
All right, good evening, everyone. So in your packet are the budget reports through April. Like I said, I'm watching Central Services because of paper and some other things. And then also revenues coming in strong, and I just got an email from the tax collector that our tax collections are 100.24% of budgeted right now, which is good, so.
Do you want to explain what that means? If like like of budgeted, because I thought that meant like we somehow collected additional taxes, but that's not what it means.
No, so we, and you happen to be at the mill rate meeting this year, we set the tax collection at the mill rate meeting. And I won't go into a lot of detail because it can get confusing, but that is the number that we put in the budget that they have to collect. So it's not like 100% of like the total collections and everything. We do have a percentage that we leave for some wiggle room.
Yeah,
When
so in case people don't pay their taxes, it's
yeah.
not like we're budgeting based off of tax money we're not gonna see. So we use like an actuarial, like margin of error number essentially.
Right.
Yeah, but excuse me, you are correct. When he goes over 100, it is back taxes that he's collecting.
This number that he gave me today was just his tax collections. It wasn't prior or
Okay,
anything.
but if you go,
The one in the budget report is
Yeah.
prior and supplemental and everything.
Right.
But this was just his tax, he gives me a separate report for tax
and he did have a
collection.
sale, and all the taxes were paid.
Great.
During that.
And then, everyone knows we set the mill rate at 27.33, which was 0.66 mils over last year's mill rate.
Can you repeat that again, please?
We set the mill rate at 27.33, which was 0.66 mils over the fiscal 25 mill rate.
Thank you.
Any questions on the budget report? Okay, hearing none, we'll now move on to 55 Nooks Hill Road. So, Mr. Town Manager.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. In your packet, you had a proposal that was presented to me by Jim Cassidy from Halsey, Pearson and Cassidy. From what I understand, he was one of the primaries on the Carrier property and is able to pull from the boundary line between our property and their property because of the surveying that was done for the Carrier development. So with that, I'm asking that a waiver be issued so that I could, if this council wants me to proceed with the possible sale of this piece of property, he would cut it out and make it conforming with the exception of the front of the building that faces Nooks Hill Road, which is non-conforming, but the rest of the property would be conforming. So, with that, if you want me to proceed, I would ask for a waiver to move forward.
Go ahead, Brian.
Do we still have a prospective buyer?
Well, there's someone that's still very interested in the property, but, under state statute, I have to follow.
Yeah.
It has to be offered to the public, et cetera.
Is there any sort of appraisal, or does this have to, or does the survey have to be done first and the division have to be done first before there's some sort of an
That's
appraisal amount as to what we could sell the property for?
That's correct. The property would have to be subdivided and defined, and then I could get it appraised and come up with a price, and then move forward from there. But without it being, it would just be a guesstimate saying, what would it be worth if it had an acre of land with it? But I don't wanna move forward if the council doesn't want to, sell, the building and a piece of property.
Tony, is the building gonna be taken down, or is it gonna be reconstructed, put back to, restored?
According to, well, I'd like to, when we get to that point, I'd like to put conditions on the, at time of sale, that the building would be refurbished and, used for, some type of small business here in the town of Cromwell. I think it's got a lot of potential, but, someone's gonna have to put work into it. And point to the councilman's point, the gentleman that is interested is looking to refurbish it and to run his business out of there.
Could we take the money that, the town gets for it and put it towards the, Stevens Pond and get it mucked out and opened up so, we can start seeing the little baby ducklings and the people can go there on Sundays with their children and spend a few hours there?
I can explore how many permits would be needed to muck the pond out. But in all likelihood, besides DEEP, it would be Army Corps of Engineer, et cetera.
I understand that, but still, it'd be nice.
So perhaps we could put it towards the drainage issue that's there first.
Yeah,
I'll
I'll also just
attention.
I'll alert the council that the Conservation Commission is working on a potential ordinance on sale of public land. That I think the concept is, and Rocky Hill does this and a couple other towns do this, that if the town sell, their proposal would be, and they're still workshopping it, if we sell public land, the money would go into a public land trust for us to improve public land that we own or purchase new open public land. So I think that what Brian just suggested may be part and parcel of what Jamin and that group's thinking about, that if we sell a piece of property, it should go into a trust that we then say this is to improve public land that we have or purchase new public land. So that way it all
Yeah.
keeps investing
'Cause
into itself.
At some point, we're, like we say, we're gonna have to build new schools, we're gonna have to build a lot of things, and we're short on expansive pieces of land.
We're very, I gave you the list,
Yeah.
and we can give you another list, but we're very land rich. We have a lot of property,
Buildable.
but, well, some of it, such as Hoffman's, is buildable, but it's restricted because at the time, we took $400,000 from the state, and as a result of taking $400,000, there's a restriction. And I did check when I took over as town manager, and there's no way that we can even buy our way out of that one. But we have a lot of land in town, and most of the land that is buildable is owned by a gentleman, and he's getting top dollar,
I know the gentleman.
extremely top dollar.
I've had the conversation with the gentleman.
So we'll leave it at that, but let's talk about the issue at hand, which is, do we want to invest the $7,500 into having this company do the surveying for the potential future partition, and then B, do we want to grant a bid waiver to do that? This is under the town purchasing policy, so why do we need a bid waiver if it's under the purchasing policy? Isn't it 12,000 for going out to bid?
Because I would, it's 12,500 to go out to bid, but, okay, it's a waiver from getting 3 quotes.
Oh, okay. Even if it's under
I
12?
want a waiver from the purchasing policy, so I don't have to, because in all likelihood, absolutely gonna cost more, possibly.
Okay, so this is so this is under the amount, so okay, I understand. Any further comments from my right on this? I'm sorry, Jack, not political right, my physical right. I mean, you could be on my political right, who knows, but my physical right. Any questions?
Thanks so much for the clarity.
I know my right and left. I graduated that class.
No, my challenge is, you know, I can picture the area, the building, the water, and part of me says, well, you know, if there's an opportunity to make this into, or have someone make this into a viable business, we should take a shot at it. Also, it's making it better than it is also a good thing, even if that person didn't take it all the way. Maybe somebody else, as we move and we get it in a better condition, someone else will come by and say, you know, I really like this area. And so I'm between and on my thoughts, but I leaned toward saying, yeah, let's do it and see where it goes.
Ann or Julia, any comments before we have a motion on something? Okay,
One more
Yep.
question. What is the benefit, other than time constraint, which I don't think we're really under, to waiving the bid process?
The gentleman is familiar with everything and already has most of the work done because of the other parcel.
Okay, so he's preferable to this job specifically?
Yes. And he's familiar with that area. He's very familiar with the town of Cromwell also.
well, it's up to this council. So do I have a motion to approve a bid waiver for the surveying services for 55 Nooks Hill Road?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion made by Al to approve the bid waiver. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Jack. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstention, motion carries unanimously. Okay, next we have discuss and approve additional full-time public works employee. So Lou or Tony, would you like to explain this one for us?
Yes, as explained in my memo to the council, the council approved 4 seasonals for Parks and Grounds. Under law, if they exceed 120 days, then they're entitled to full benefits. And by the benefits, I mean all benefits. As outlined in the CBA. Matter of fact, they would be covered by the CBA. So, working with the finance director and having discussion with Mr. Spina, if we provide an additional full-time employee, let me just back up a second. So that means that 120 days, we would have to release or provide benefits to the seasonals. So to attempt to avoid that situation, I'm proposing that we bring on an additional full-time employee for that division and 2 seasonals that would be released after the 120-day period.
Go ahead, Brian.
How many seasonals do we employ now, total?
I think, well, we have 2 right now, and if we go what's budgeted, July 1st, it could be increased to 4.
So if we were to hire a full-time position, we would eliminate 2 seasonal positions? When would you?
That's correct.
Plus benefits.
So at this point, you're staggering 4
No.
seasonals.
No, I'm not staggering, that's,
Well, you have 2 on now, and you're taking 2 more on in July.
well, that's because the budget takes effect July.
Well, right.
Technically, you could bring 3 on right now, he's got approval for 3, if we can find 3. That's the other problem that we encounter, finding individuals to become seasonal employees.
I mean,
So this would avoid that problem, and give them a head start with regards to not having to worry about at least that position.
understood.
I'd like to put a motion on the floor to approve it.
Okay, to approve the full-timer, so we have
Yes,
a
sir.
motion, we can still have discussion, but is there a second on that motion?
Second. I'll second.
Second, but, oh, I'll give it to Brian. Brian, I'll give you the second. Now, is there any further discussion on that? You know, I will say that now that we know that we've been having people for over 120 days and they were technically owed benefits, benefits are very expensive. So I think having a full-timer is probably a better investment and return on our investment than having a part-timer and having to provide a part-timer, with benefits. And then if we can continue to work with the Board of Ed to get Joe added on to the team, then I really think then that would probably be the best, because having full-time people who are there year-round, who are dedicated year-round, who can learn and grow throughout the year with the program and the system and everything else is better, I think, long-term, than people who may come for a summer and then maybe not come back the following summer. We'll have to start from scratch with somebody else. Not that, I mean, the seasonals do great work, but I think the consistency of a full-time job is a better incentive for somebody. So I agree with my colleagues. Any further discussion on this?
If I may just further add that Mr. Spina has worked out with regards to taking staff from other divisions, such as solid waste and highway, and personnel have been working very well, and that's how a lot of the work is getting done right now. We've been providing two employees from the highway division to supplement Parks and Grounds.
Great, okay. Okay, so there's been a motion and a second. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. Any opposed? Abstention, motion carries unanimously. Next, we will move for tax refunds,
Motion approved
Second.
through 6.
1 through 6.
Second.
Seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Now we're gonna go on to item I, Finance Director's update. This is the dog fund and the sidewalk fund, which is review and appropriation of special revenue funds that are required. This is a fund used for the improvement and expansion of the town sidewalk system. The town manager uses this fund to approve all repairs. Specific expansion projects need to be approved by us. The appropriation is for design, engineer, materials, supply, labor, and any item directly related to this. It was approved by Board of Finance in advance, as well as the dog fund, which has to be voted on separately. Any discussion on this or questions on this for the town manager or the finance director? Can we vote on these together, or do they need to be individual motions? So can I have a motion to approve, for the special revenue funds, for the dog fund, 23,900, and the sidewalk fund, 25,000?
Motion.
Motion made by Brian,
Second.
second by Al. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Now we will go to the chief of police for his updates. Chief.
Good evening. So you have in front of you my report to the town manager. A couple things I would like to add. I'm sure many of you know this week is National Police Week. And in 2024, 165 police officers lost their life protecting and serving their communities. Connecticut did have one last year, Trooper Pelletier. And I just wanted to make a point that this is a time of week where residents and businesses, last night I went downstairs and there was so much food on the table. It was incredible. That the appreciation I get from this community for the entire police department is just overwhelming. And I thank the community for remembering, especially this week, where it's a tough week because you start thinking about every time we go out there, we put our uniform on. Our job is to go home to our families, but you never know. So thank you to the community and thank you to everybody here. Next week, I can't tell you who it is yet, but the Cromwell PBA will be given their $1,000 scholarship to a Cromwell High School person. I know who it is, but I can't say it yet, but it's a Cromwell High School person who will be receiving the $1,000 scholarship from our PBA. Monday, I have a new dispatcher starting. As much as I'm proud to say we're fully staffed with law enforcement, police-wise. I'm short 2 dispatchers. So I have one starting Monday with the town manager's approval, and we're doing a background right now on another dispatcher who's actually a certified dispatcher with another agency who's looking to come to Cromwell, and hopefully I'll have that name for town manager in the next week or so to get this person going. Besides that, I have nothing more besides what's in the packet. If you have any questions for me, I'm here.
How are our 2 new officers doing?
Officer Wren is doing awesome. He's on his own now. Officer Volker is on FTO program. He's scheduled to be off the week before Travelers.
Okay.
He's aware of what Travelers means, and he's already put in his name for overtime. But he, you know, and I talked to him yesterday, asked him how things were going, and the young man had such a smile on his face. He goes, "This is the kind of policing I wanted to do," because he came from a college setting. So he said, "This is the type of policing I want to do. This is fun." And I remember those days when I was young. We remember when it was fun. So our newest officers are great, and that reminds me, you know, now we'll probably talk more about next month. Is, as you know, Travelers is full swing ahead, and it's been busy. Taking a lot of time of me and the captain going to different meetings. The town manager knows. Security's going to be different this year.
Yeah, no peace green protesters?
I hope not. I hope not.
Al, go ahead.
I have to ask you, would you please explain to the members of the town council how frugal you were on purchasing the vehicle? Happens to be a General Motors vehicle that we spoke about. I told you I was gonna bring it up, and I think, I commend you for shopping around to get the best price, and I think we got the biggest bang for the buck through you. And I really appreciate the way you've done that. You took it upon yourself with the approval, and I commend you for doing that. I really do. It looks,
Well, Al, I know how you, and it wasn't intentional by any way about us buying 2 Chevys.
No.
It was not intentional.
No.
But when we went out to look for pricing for a larger vehicle for our sergeants, the Expedition was almost $10,000 more. So, you know, for $10,000 each vehicle is $20,000. That's a large expense. So we went with the Chevy Tahoes. The Tahoes are a vehicle that pretty much every police department's using now. Some departments are getting away from the Explorer, but it's a much bigger vehicle. But I told the town manager this, I still would recommend for patrol the Explorer. It's smaller. As you know, we have officers my size. We have officers smaller than me. The Tahoe's a big vehicle, you know, and it takes some used to driving it. But I did it because it saved $20,000.
well, I'm glad you looked at the bow ties. They don't, people, right, Tony?
Yeah.
Bow ties is a Chevy emblem.
It killed me, but that's okay.
That's all right.
But he, you know, to his credit, he was in agreement. I mean, $20,000 is $20,000.
That's right. You overrode him, right?
No,
Oh.
we came to an agreement.
Thank you for your frugality and thrift. We appreciate it. That saves all the taxpayers money, and it makes everyone, you know, you're still able to do your job effectively. So, great news. Any other questions for the chief or the captain, I guess? Sorry, I always say the chief. I guess captain, you stay here too. So, any questions for the pair?
In your honor, Officer Bialko did not know you were a judge.
I just had one question.
Go ahead, Ann.
Well, I'm sure it wouldn't have
He's
been.
been around a long time, he should have.
I'm new, obviously, so I just wondered if you're seeing, I went through all your report and I commend you all for your service, I really do.
Thank you.
And I'm grateful to you all. You keep us all safe and our town safe. I wondered if you're seeing any different trends that are concerning to you or things that we need to be thinking about going forward.
So I'm happy to say, I don't know if any of you watched the news yet today, but they released the 2024 fourth quarter statistics for crimes in Connecticut.
Yeah.
And we're down, luckily, but there's also some things that have gone up, like I think they talked about animal abuse has gone up. Luckily, we're not seeing that here in Cromwell. Car thefts have gone down, which is great. You know, you lose one, but you gain something else. You know, domestic violence may be a little bit up. Summer's coming, so we're gonna have more juvenile incidents. So those are trends I watch, but as far as, you know, I feel Cromwell's a very safe community. The officers are out there and they try to be visible and do their job. I know motor vehicles picked up drastically, so I think that's helped with slowing some traffic down. I think that's important because, as you know, the speeding causes accidents and causes more problems. And I get the complaints, and I have the sergeants address them with the officers, and that's why, you know, hopefully they're out there more often. And I know with the numbers, you can see that the numbers are higher than they were previously. But, you know, summertime, I look at the juvenile stuff. Too much free time.
Go ahead.
Only me. The panhandlers, I did call last year, and Mr. Kogut went out and took care of the problem. I think you probably are aware of what I called about. Coming off of Route 9, northbound and southbound, more recently southbound, coming off the old Kmart exit, there's been a panhandler there. Don't know what the sign says because I see the back of them, but they've been throwing coffee cups, soda bottles, litter in it. And I did call, reported at the dispatch. Officer did call me, said, well, the last time you called, we went out there, he was not there. I said, well, I'm just gonna be going there, but right now, and he is there. And the officer went out there, and the next time I came by, the place was cleaned, which, that's a plus. The other thing that I noticed, especially around 372, to my knowledge, when there's a car accident and you have glass, etc., all over the road, isn't it up to the towing company to sweep it up before they leave the scene with the vehicle?
Normally, yes.
They haven't been. What I've seen, especially 372, some of it's plastic glass from the headlights and that, but I don't want to get a blowout, and I don't want to see somebody else get a blowout, because the people who are towing the vehicle are making money off of it, so they should do that little extra effort to clean up the mess.
I don't disagree with you. I'll let the officers know to make sure that that is being done.
Thank you much.
Any other questions? Okay, hearing none, thank you, Captain. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
We'll move on to our Public Works Director report. Lou. Good evening.
So two things I did want to discuss with you, in addition to what's already in front of you. The one you brought up previously, I did meet with Claudio last Thursday to discuss the potential consolidation of field maintenance. He did have some line items for me, like they have $8,000 for paint, a few $1,000s still for irrigation, even though we took on the bulk of it a couple years ago. As far as the pay scale, I heard you ask that question a little earlier. I think there's only a 28 cents an hour discrepancy that would work in Joe's favor if he came our way. So, and I had Mike Conant sit in with me because obviously we wanted to learn more about, we know what Joe does from a mowing perspective, but we wanted to learn more about what he does when he's not mowing, what are the other things he does. So I think it's doable with a little coordination and communication, because he does make dump runs, which we probably have the ability to assist with on through our solid waste division. I don't know. I heard Councilman Bonneau say earlier, you know, we're gaining a body, but we're also gaining 40 hours worth of work. So it's a wash. I think we'd benefit a little because. The other thing the town manager brought to you, we have been mowing whist the last 2 weeks because Joe's out, and Claudio did ask us to assist with that, which I was eager to because I wanted to see what was involved. So, you know, the estimate we were given by the Board of Ed is it takes him 20 man-hours a week to maintain the whist property. And my crew went there on Monday afternoon, 5 of them, and they worked 2 hours, and then they came in for an extra hour on Tuesday and did 5 hours of weed whacking. So if we take on the work, yes, we get 40 hours back, but we're probably inheriting somewhere between 30 plus hours a week of work. So there's probably a little benefit to the town. But again, initially, I think it's doable. I think we'd have to sit and, well, I know we'd have to sit and discuss it with both unions and make sure one union was willing to release it. I'm sure the other one would be willing to accept the position. But, I don't think it's anything that scares us. So, and then the second thing, we had the field conversions underway the last month or so, a few weeks. And Mr. Harriman and I were out there one day when they stripped down the field at Wiss. And so we have $100,000 in next year's budget to do a study to try and help, point us in the right direction. But I guess in conjunction with that, or as we wait for that to go out and see what type of recommendations they make to us, John and I are considering, and we brought this to Tony's attention, maybe this summer, if we get a little bit of a drought, things dry out late June into sometime in August, we're going to pick a spot out at Wiss. And I don't want to commit to it, but maybe around the kick wall, the soccer kick wall, or a spot, 25 by 25, 50 by 50. Maybe dig out 3 feet of material, replace it with a couple feet of good gravel that'll drain better, maybe some crushed rock, and put some loam and topsoil on it, see if we can put a little crown, and see if it makes a difference, because I think the consensus is that's what everyone thinks we need to do out there. But as we wait for that study, and maybe there is a more cost-effective way of doing it, but we wanted to see if we took a section and crowned it and get it to drain in the non-playable areas, maybe perhaps, and get it to get into that underground drainage system. But so it's something we're flirting with, it's something we're talking about, and it's something that if conditions, dry out enough, and I'm sure staffing will be there, that we might do a pilot, take a piece of it and see if we can make some improvements internally. If it works, we'll wait to see what results come back from the study, and, maybe we can take on a field one at a time, who knows? But with funding, I mean, you're gonna pay for material, obviously. But, but it's something we're looking at, it's something we're talking about, and it's something we're exploring that could lead to some benefits down the road, so.
Good to know.
We may be able to do it a lot cheaper than what was.
And if we can do it in-house, that's even better.
If Lou's studies,
So.
Lou mentioned, they brought up, equipment, the line paint.
Yeah, so you guys approved, I know we bring it to this board, and we got it approved last month or the month before. The Friday before last, May 2nd, I think the date was, the company came in and started programming all the coordinates of all the fields, and so I went out there for an hour and a half just to kind of familiarize myself with it, because I know of them, but I've never witnessed one, and I think as I was with Mike today at a seminar, and the feedback I'm getting is as he and staff get more familiar with it, there is going to be a benefit to it. Now, it's man hours, right? So if the football field used to take a crew of 4 to 5 hours, 6 hours on a Friday to paint, now I know I could send one guy down there for an hour and 10 minutes and that field's painted. So it's interesting, because as one of the staff was painting a couple soccer fields today, he was also out there weed whacking. So you're kind of, I don't want to say you're getting a 2-for-1, but you're not only taking a little bit of burden away from painting, but you're also accomplishing something else while you're out there. So again, we've only had it a couple weeks. Mike and one other staff currently are the most familiar with it, but the goal would be to get them all as familiar with it as time allows, and so I think it's gonna help out a little bit there too.
Great, I love it. Anything to increase efficiency so our folks can have more time to work on other things and maintain the fields and be more effective in their roles. So that's great. I'm glad the investment's working out.
Yeah, and thank you for the full-time guy a little earlier. Again, that was something, before discussing it with Tony, I made sure field staff was comfortable with it, and having the 2 seasonals still left, and we know it's a hard stop at 120 days, but the plan will be to have the 5 full-time employees, bring one in early, bring one in a little later in the season so he or she can get to the late fall, and then whatever assistance from other divisions is needed will be there.
Great. So, great. Any questions, Al? Go ahead.
Would you pass this on to all your park department employees that cut the grass?
Sure.
they're doing a fabulous job, and I like the way they cross-cut. It looks sharp.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
And even though we had all that rain, they seem to be keeping up with it. And it's nice to see that. Anybody's coming through the town and see something like that, it's impressive.
I'll be sure to share it, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any other public, questions for the Public Works Director? All righty, hearing none, thank you, Lou.
Good evening, see you soon.
Now we'll move on to unfinished business, which is discussion and possible action on the climate culture study and council recommendations. I don't think we have anything new on that for this meeting. Are we comfortable taking it off of the agenda moving forward? I think we've talked about it and, okay. Item N1, discussion and possible action to approve the use of 2 River Road for the farmers market and summer concert events in June, July, August, September 2025. It requires town and council approval. I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but does anyone have any questions? Okay, go ahead, Al.
As of the new executive officer of the Cromwell Art Board Association, I was speaking with the Commodore. He forgot to bring it up to a vote last night, because we had our meeting. And we don't see a problem whatsoever. In the past few years, we've had a good working relationship with the farmers market, and they generally always have someone down there to make sure there's room left for the boat club members to park their trailers. Even though the farmers market takes up over half of the space, and there's generally enough room for the boat club members so they don't get all riled up like they did in the first couple of years, because it was just parking all over. But it seems Scott's got that pretty well under control, and we see no problems whatsoever. I think it's beneficial for everybody. Thank you.
Okay, great. So can I have if there are no further questions, can I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve.
From Jack, seconded by Al. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries unanimously. Next, we have review and approve resolution for master municipal agreement for right-of-way projects. Tony, do you want to outline what this is?
Yeah, it's requirement by the state. The resolution is in your packet, and it's required to be approved by the legislative body.
And what exactly is the master municipal agreement of right-of-way projects?
It's on file for a year, is it a year or 10 years, yeah, I think I signed it back in 2015 initially. And it encompasses all the work that they do within the community. So that, yeah, they don't have to keep coming back.
Between us and who?
State.
Oh, the state, okay, I understand.
Would this be like for utility easement, that type of thing?
This is only with the state of Connecticut.
So, for example, I know that there was I know it's their bridge, but there was a crack on the bridge on Evergreen there.
They were working on it.
And so this allows them to do that without having to come to us and ask permission to bring their, okay, got it. So, do I have any other discussion on that? Otherwise, I'll accept a motion to review and approve the resolution for master municipal agreement for rights-of-way projects.
So moved.
Made by Paula,
Second.
second by Jack. Any further discussion?
Is there any downfalls to giving them free rein? No? Okay, I didn't know, I just figured I'd throw it out there. I don't like to give anybody full control of anything.
I do have another problem with DOT, but I can't get anybody to answer the phone.
That's a big problem.
They're putting all these sidewalks to the push buttons for the traffic controls. And they're expecting us to maintain them free of snow and ice, from what I understand, but I haven't been able to have a conversation with the person in DOT, because I've put in 3 calls so far, and nobody's returning any calls, but most of them are all they're all on state roads, because all our major arteries our state roads. All the traffic signals in the town of Cromwell are owned by the state of Connecticut. So we're very, very fortunate. But, in this case here, no, I don't see a downside.
There's not a single town-owned, traffic light?
No.
That's wild. Okay, yeah, I guess you're right.
Very unique. Route 3,
yeah.
99, 372, SR 524, all state roads.
I will tell you, Tony, that I have complained to DOT about the push for green crosswalks on 372.
Yeah.
That is not an efficient way to cross a road. Push for green so the opposite traffic decides to turn into you instead of the oncoming traffic to turn into you. You push for green, and all it does is it changes the other light. So you know the plaza where Stop and Shop, and the other plaza that's across the street where Kmart used to be. You come down the sidewalk there, you push for green to get across the Stop and Shop. All it does is it just changes the traffic so the people who are turning left and right can go. And it doesn't really help you cross the street if there's a long line of cars trying to get out of those plazas. And I've asked, and they said, no, that's standard crosswalk for the type of intersection it is that is. Which is crazy.
At Cromwell Hills Drive and Route 3, that traffic signal is gonna be upgraded.
I love it. I'm so happy to hear it.
Walking in the right of way, the good news is you have the right of way.
Well, that'll be, I'll have some solace. I'll have a little bit of solace as the car runs me over. It's like, but I had the right of way.
Another location is over Seabethy Drive by Verizon when they walk across there. That's a lot of traffic coming off of 91 there, and most of them are taking right turns, but if that green walk, it's terrible. Somebody's gonna get killed there one day. I know.
They're all dangerous. Just for instance, the exit 21 Sunoco station, the light is for pedestrians. The vehicles in the gas station used to head out onto 372 because it would show a green light, and they would always get biffed by a car on 372. That was for pedestrians. It's not for the traffic in the gas station. So.
It's very unsafe to walk.
There's a lot of them that are dangerous when people don't understand exactly what they're for.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to hear that they're getting upgraded, so thank you for that. Next, we'll move on to discussion and possible action regarding the naming of the middle school auditorium. So,
We didn't vote.
oh, I'm sorry. Can I have do we have a motion and a
We had
second
a
on that?
motion and a second.
Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstention, motion carries unanimously. Now we'll move on to discussion and possible action for regarding the naming of the middle school auditorium. So, do you want, the reason it's before us is, the Board of Ed reached consensus on it, but they didn't hold a formal vote on it. In the past, when we've named buildings, whichever group has custodial ownership of the building, which is technically us and the building committee, or the building committee through us, have custodial ownership. So just to make sure there were no questions later on, I threw it on our agenda so that somebody could formally vote to name the auditorium, and I'll let Rosanna present on the naming proposal. And I think it's been, and just for clarification, it's been, the Board of Ed has given it its blessing. They didn't hold a formal vote, and the building committee has voted to approve it as well.
I cannot confirm if the Board of Ed voted or not, I'm not sure.
They didn't vote. They talked about it and said nobody had a problem with it, but they didn't actually have a vote on it.
Okay. Right, and the building committee didn't vote on it, because we just thought it was something that they wanted to do as direction given to us by the Board of Education. So for those of you unaware, the Board of Education wants to name the auditorium after Michael Camilleri, who was the Board of Education chairperson for many years, and unfortunately, sadly, he passed away a few years back. He was a huge proponent of the arts. Some would argue that he really drove it through Cromwell and has made it pretty much what we see today. It's a very prominent part of our culture today, the arts in the schools. So justifiably, they wanted to name the auditorium after him.
Choice.
I think it's a great choice. I did a community theater production with him in Cromwell, and he was such a joy.
Yeah.
And I think his daughter now works for the school
She
district,
does,
right? That's
yeah, and she'll be
wonderful.
able to like perform or rehearse students or whatever in that auditorium named after her father, which is.
That's wonderful.
Wasn't he our first HR person too?
Yeah.
Wow. Great guy, fantastic human being, and I think it's a fitting tribute. So, does anyone have any questions about it? Otherwise, I just wanted to get a vote on the record somewhere so that we can say, here's how, somebody voted on it. And motion on it?
I'd make a motion, whatever the Board of Ed decides.
Yeah, good, okay. So, with the Mike Camilleri Memorial Auditorium or something like that?
Yeah, something
Okay.
like that.
Great, so
The motion should be the naming of the auditorium.
yeah, so can you amend your motion to say?
I amend it to have it named Michael Camilleri Memorial
What do
Auditorium.
you call the exact name? There's a name already
So,
for
I'm
the
sorry?
plaque.
there's a name already that they recommended?
Yeah, I can get it to you in 2
Could you
seconds.
please speak up a little bit?
I'm gonna get it to you in 2 seconds, name of the, hold on.
No worries. They're gonna get the exact name and give it
I'll
to
give you the
us.
exact name, 1 minute, let me just look it up real quick. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Oh, it's just a dedication. It should be the Michael J. Camilleri Auditorium.
No memorial?
Is it the memorial? We'd have to go back. I don't have the exact. Let me text Selena. I'll find out.
Okay. Well, why don't we, I guess, do we want to take a 1 minute, 2 minute recess? Does anyone want to recess right now? So let's take a 2 minute recess just so we can get the name right, and then we can carry on. So we'll be back at 8:45.
Okay, I'll give Dr. Macri a quick call.
We're now adjourned not adjourned, we're on a recess until 8:45.
I was gonna say, I'll drop it off at Jack's house, see if he'll
just.
Yeah, the other thing that I'm pushing on is, the long-range capital planning group getting back together and starting earlier to go through all of the expenditures for next year, because we can't wait, we have to start. Because there's not gonna be as much money next year as there was this year.
No.
We're never gonna have the 2 million from Gilead sitting around again, too.
No, I know.
Any luck on finding is it like J. Camilleri Memorial?
Alrighty.
Okay, so, folks, let's gather back together, and reconvene. The time is 8:48 PM. So, Madam Chairwoman, I think off the record, we had come to a consensus about what the name should be.
The Michael J. Camilleri Auditorium.
Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the naming of the middle school auditorium as such?
I withdraw my recommendation and change it to what Roseanne said.
Okay.
Second.
Motion made, second, and any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries unanimously. Great. Next is discussion and possible action regarding the proposed electronic sign at the middle school. Madam Chairwoman.
Okay, so we have a new sign proposal for the entrance to the middle school. The current sign is falling apart for the most part. The request from the administration was to move to a digital signage so that administrators can alter the words on the sign remotely and not have to walk through the snow and everything to get to the sign and do the manual placards. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the entrance or the new entrance into the middle school, originally there used to be a sidewalk on the east side of the entrance that hugged the corner where the current sign is. That sidewalk has been removed and the sidewalk is now across the entrance on the western side. So there's no longer a sidewalk along that curve where the current sign is. So anyone who would have to go and change a sign would have to basically walk across the street or the entranceway onto snow, onto gravel. It's not safe anyways. Most schools now it is customary to move towards a digital sign because you can instantly change the messages, there's safety concerns and all that jazz. The sign is reimbursable by the state of Connecticut, so we would get 50% back on it. The sign would not have any images, it would just be words. And it could be used for public notices, so in case there's something like an Amber Alert or in a town-wide emergency, voting, things like that, we could post those messages on the board as well relatively easily, relatively quickly, because it is digital, it's just a type send. The sign itself comes with a warranty. The digital part is also covered. There's a whole proposal behind it. It is a new design, so the parts are guaranteed for like 20 years. Questions?
What is the size, what is the size of the electronic billboard? Is it like the one in the fire district where it's the strip, or is it like the one that's in the town, like 372, that's like the big one?
It fits within the size restrictions set forth by planning and zoning. So I think it's, gosh, about 49 square feet was the maximum, I believe, for the
Okay.
entire sign.
Okay,
I think the digital portion of it is it like 2/3 that or something like that? Heather's not here, she's our design subcommittee chair. She would have the exact measurements. But it would allow for, I believe it was 4 rows of 6-inch letters. So it's pretty significant. You'd have a lot of space to put in messages, and then obviously you can shrink the letter size and add more rows. The biggest concern from planning and zoning has been the use of images. They don't want images. There will be no images. It's just purely for letters, words, to post messages.
and then two other questions. What is the total cost and then the reimbursed cost? So 50%, so the total cost would be,
Total cost is around 50,000 all in, and then half of that would be to 25.
and that includes all electrical work and other items to the site, like if you need to put in a, I don't know, a box or a circuit or something. I'm bad at electronics.
Yeah, there's wiring that has to be led to it, and the infrastructure that holds the digital sign, and then the placard that goes on top of it.
I'll open it up for questions on the council. Yeah, of course.
First start with a question. Did you say it's got a 20-year warranty?
So the way this is a new design that the company has released this year, and they hold parts, replacement parts for 20 years.
Hold parts.
Yeah,
20
so if anything were to break or whatever in the next 20 years, they would be able to quickly send it over. If we went with an older design, it would be like 5 years, so that's why we went with a newer design.
The only thing, I could have signed off on this, but there was a lot of discussion, and I thought I'd bring it before the council and allow the council to give me guidance on going forward with the change, because the original plan showed that they were just gonna utilize the existing sign that was there. So now they did a change order, and I thought, due to the significance of the change, that the council should have the opportunity. Plus, I heard from some people that were discussing the merits of the sign.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate you bringing it to us, and me and the chairwoman had some frank discussions about the sign too, and I appreciate her feedback and thoughtful input to me about the signs, and we had some evolving discussions on them as well. And I just think because it's something that's a little new and not something that was originally discussed, it was appropriate for us as a body just to look it over. If we were to approve it this evening, it would still need to be approved by planning and zoning, so we can't supersede planning and zoning and their requirements, so it would still have to go through the public hearing process and special approval process, and that is scheduled, so, the question for us is, do we want to go with the additional sign?
Is there a maintenance cost to this? Any sort of upgrade type fees, maintenance to the sign, cost-wise?
There should be very little to no maintenance. They actually give us replacement parts, so if anything were to break, we just replace it ourselves. It's
No sort of software upgrade type stuff
all that's
or anything
included.
like that?
Thank you for bringing that up. So software is included with the price, as well as the cellular service to send signals is included in the price as well. So as long as we have it, that cellular service is part of the 50,000.
And this is to alleviate having to walk to manually change things on the other sign that is no longer accessible by a walkway.
That, and it also provides the town with an opportunity to utilize the sign for townwide messages, which in that corner of the town is kind of lacking.
My biggest concern is the high traffic area and the amount of kids that are in that area and distracting drivers looking at a sign with moving messages and
There'll be
whatnot
no
with
moving
a
messages.
hill.
No
and
moving messages. That's the whole point. They're just static letters.
Plus, it's located at 2 stop signs.
Yeah.
So-
Understandable, but one of those stop signs is blind, and I mean,
But you'd be coming up behind it.
Right.
And the sign would be on the corner, so, I mean, it's really no different than what's there today. It's the same location, so if the sign today wasn't drawing an issue.
is it possible to move the sign that's, we didn't plan on putting a new sign in anyways? We were going to use the existing sign that's there now? Is
That was
in the
before we.
original? In the original?
Yeah, that was before we assessed the current condition of the sign, before we realized that there was no sidewalk there to move the sign and there posed a hazard, and before we realized we had bid savings and an opportunity. So, it was there's a lot of things that went into play to make that decision.
Can we just move the sign that's there onto to the other side of the
That actually makes
road
it
where the sidewalk is?
That makes it more hazardous for the sign, because now you're near the baseball, like, you don't want to put a digital sign next to the baseball.
No, if it were just the original sign, I'm saying.
The original
To put it, for ease of accessibility, to just move it over to where the sidewalk side
We
is.
still need to replace the sign, it's falling apart, like, either way.
Have we looked at the cost difference on replacing the sign as is
It'd
the
be
sign
about
now?
half the cost, so,
Half the cost?
around half the cost.
20?
So if we went with a static sign existing, it'd be 25K.
You also lose again, you're gonna lose the potential usability by the town.
No, I understand that, but the delta would be 25K, and would the static sign be reimbursable as well?
Yes,
Okay.
Is there money available for this?
yes, comes out of bid savings.
Well,
And this is,
there isn't. I mean, there's the bid savings there's the bid savings from the project itself that could be spent or could be, not bonded. Same as with the turf field that we decided on.
And full
Same money, same pool of money.
And Brian, full transparency,
Mm-hmm.
I'll admit, like, when I originally looked at the digital sign, I was like, oh, like, do we need it? But then when I thought about the usability by the town to actually be able to we have a huge communication issue in this town. People don't know things are happening, and like, anytime a new sign goes up in town, I highly recommend it's a digital sign, so we can broadcast things that are happening in town to people easily, quickly. This is an opportunity for us.
Higher traffic area
This is a
than
long,
at a
this is
middle
a,
school.
many people go down that road to bypass, to get to Route 99. It's a very good opportunity that looks long-term usability.
Well,
And,
I am
added
looking at
capacity.
addressing the communication issue with an actual app on the phone, a GoGov app that will, designed specifically for the town itself. It's almost like a Cromwell app on your phone that will actually send you all of the meeting updates, things like that. I'm still in the research phase, but I think it would be very beneficial to communication-wise. Yeah, I don't know. Personally, from a safety standpoint and from a from a feasibility standpoint.
I don't like
for
putting any sign
50,000.
on the side of the sidewalk, because there's teenagers and they're middle schoolers, and anything that they can throw at, hit at, whatever, in close proximity to themselves is gonna get destroyed. So if it's across where they can't get to it because it's not near a sidewalk, right? I would not put, regardless of what you decide, the sign is not going on that side of the sidewalk, because it will get destroyed. We're talking about 7th, 8th graders. They like to kick things, hit things, they walk right across that all the time. There's a baseball field, they'll purposely try to hit it with the baseball, like, it's not.
So I guess the question for the council is, the committee is recommending this action, they've cited their reasons. Do we want to spend $50,000 more than we originally anticipated on this item, which would be reimbursed 50%, which was not, when we first started having the conversation, we weren't sure it would be reimbursable. So knowing that it's reimbursable is certainly helpful, but I guess it's a question about whether or not we want to, bless you, whether or not we want to make the investment for the sign or not.
Roseanne, can you see, from both sides?
Yes. It'll be both sided.
The message is there, front or back?
Yes.
So the orientation of the current sign though is facing outward, so it would be, right?
You'll be able to see it from both sides.
Okay, so the orientation will be changing to that? Because, right, doesn't the current sign just face outwards,
It's
or is that the high school?
perpendicular to the
Okay.
road today.
I'm thinking of the high school one, aren't I?
Yeah, the high school one
Julia,
is,
go ahead.
Can't get a
kitty corner.
cheaper sign? Seems like an awful lot of money for a sign, but as much as the police car, I think, what?
It'll be cheaper.
That was the quote that you guys got from the sign company, that there was no other alternatives that were less expensive?
We
Originally, I
could've-
think
we
you said there
could've
was another
gone
one that
for
was
s-
100.
We could have gone with a less, pixelated, like basically a blurrier sign, but the cost savings didn't, it was a couple thousand, and you're losing a lot of quality from that, so.
Who's providing this?
Oh, gosh, do you guys remember the name of the company? I don't remember, I can get you the name, Tony, I don't remember the name.
No, I just wondering who the company was.
I can get that to you, Ron has that name, we can.
Can't we get something like Rubel?
Rubel the painter.
Rubel makes signs. That'd be a lot cheaper.
He's a town sign painter.
We did look at multiple vendors. This was the vendor that came back the most cost effective, I'd put it that way, so.
For static or electronic?
For the static part and electronic, there's only a few companies that do it, and this one is a widely used one, is what I was told. And they work well with the company that makes the composite thing that goes around it. PIP? PIP? PIP?
I have a question about when you say communication to the town. How would the Board of Ed get the information that needs to be communicated to the town, and who's responsible then to, on the Board of Ed, to transfer that information to the sign?
It would just be a phone call either to the Board of Education or to the middle school administration and say, hey, we've got this thing coming up, can you post it on your sign? And they would go on and do it. I mean, there could even be discussions about giving the town access, it's just a website you log into.
I have my own sign, and it takes up.
Okay.
And I can see the value of that for votes. I was just thinking of the
Voting.
budget referendum, you
Yeah.
know, if we had that, you would put up there.
I mean, right now, we got a
budget
small
referendum.
little sign on like Route 3 to, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, it's just.
Well, I know there's been challenges at the high school with that sign. You'll see a sign with the letters out there for something that happened a month and a half ago, or whatever it is, or longer, and it doesn't change for
Yeah.
whatever the reason.
And people are tuned to looking at digital signs, so it captures people's attention a little bit better.
Is there a concern from the neighbors about,
Yeah.
There's no neighbor that could see the sign from their home, so it's across from the soccer fields. The closest neighbor would be over the
Okay.
hill, and then the
Okay.
other side neighbor is across on the other side of the baseball fields. There's no one
so
would be
no
affected.
concern about like just light pollution or just,
No.
It will not affect the shoe residents.
Shoe residents.
They're across the street.
At the corner. It should not affect them. I mean,
Right on the knoll.
it's pretty far from them.
So, to my wonderful deliberative body, I think it's almost decision time. Do we want to move forward with a electronic sign at the middle school as proposed with the 50% reimbursement at the estimated $50,000, or not? So, I'll take a motion one way or the other if somebody has a strong opinion and wants to make a motion for a vote.
Can I ask one?
Yep.
Are you dealing through the contractor, or are you?
It's the contractor.
Contractor's one supplying the sign vendor?
Yep.
'Cause I can't help but think that there's possibly a way to get it.
How much, do you recall how much was our big billboard that we purchased that was the large one on 372? This is smaller than that.
I didn't put the structure was there, did a complete renovation, plus added on the traveling championship, redid the top, and then electronics, 20,000.
I will say that we are at the end of our ability to go out to bid for anything else.
Okay.
Our Newfield basically said, you're done making changes, doing any bidding, because we don't have time. Our schedule's coming to an end, so it's now or never.
Gotcha. So in what year did we install the big electronic billboard?
Probably about 8 years ago.
Okay. I mean, inflation.
That included electricity,
Okay.
everything that we had to draw.
The one on 372 was 20,000, but it was 8 years ago. Yeah, but it was 8 years ago.
Masonry too, yes? The
No,
mason,
no, they redid the base of what was there. The only thing did you talk to this vendor about replacement parts? What it's gonna cost?
They provide a kit that we keep, so if we have to replace anything, they'll supply it for us.
And we have the technicians that can do this?
I was told it's straightforward, and they will
It's a
have,
YouTuber.
they will have people who like basically work with us to figure it out.
I'm hesitant to spend $50,000 on a middle school sign. That's just my feeling. I don't, if you're looking for a motion,
I'm looking for a motion from somebody.
I'll make a motion to deny the
Okay.
digital sign and stick with the original static sign that was planned.
Okay. I have a motion made by Brian. Do I have a second on that motion?
This is to deny it, I'm sorry?
Yeah, that was Brian's motion to deny it. I have a second from Al. Any further discussion on that? Okay, a motion's been made and seconded to deny electronic sign. All those in favor of denying it, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Two opposed. So 2 opposed to the denial, 5 approving, right, and you voted yes, aye?
I voted with Brian.
Okay, so five aye. The electronic sign is therefore denied.
I'd like to go on record saying that I'm very disappointed with the short-sightedness of this decision.
Thank you, appreciate it. Moving forward to approval of the minutes, can I have a motion to review or approve the April 9th, 2025 regular meeting minutes? Made by Ann, seconded by Paula. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstention, motion carries. Okay, I think everyone said aye on that. Next, let's move to our discussion about charter revision. So, we had a sudden flurry of people interested in charter revision, which is a great problem to have. So we appointed last time 3 appointments. We appointed Cass Fruin, we appointed Matt Brown, and we appointed Mike Kanata. Matt and Mike are our 2 public officials for the purposes of the application. We have received since then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 additional applications.
How many do we have? How many do we need?
By state statute, you can have up to 15. Traditionally, we've had 7. So what I'd like to propose, since we have a flurry of interest, is we could do one of 2 things. We can have a 9-person commission, or we can have 7 with 2 alternates.
Better take another look at the statute just to make sure. I didn't see alternates allowed.
I have the statute up.
Yeah.
Doesn't mention alternates at all.
Okay. We can't do any, but,
I'm sorry.
okay, so the.
I just wanna make sure that you.
The decision to be made is, do we seat all 9 people, or do we seat a smaller number and thank 2 of the candidates for their time and not appoint them? So we have, with the candidates that we appointed 2 Democrats and 1 Republican prior. We have tonight in front of us, we have, I'll just read through the applications. That's probably the better way to do it. Okay, the first application is from Julius Netto. His application is before you. A little background on Julius. He has been on different boards and commissions in the town for 33 years. You may know him as the former Board of Finance Chair, and then he was also the district director for the fire district for a period of time, and has served in various roles throughout the town.
Excellent choice.
I think Julius is an excellent choice. Next is Karen Torrenti. Mike, I don't see her here. Do you want to just speak about her background at all, since you're one of her references?
I don't have her resume with me.
Okay.
I can get that.
Yeah, thank you. would be 9.
I'm sorry, I don't have Karen's resume with me. I can tell you that she comes from the corporate world. She is very well educated, very well respected, and I think she would be a great asset to Charter Revision.
Great.
She's been in town approximately 4 or 5 years. She has a desire to get engaged in our town. I believe she is semi-retired, but looking to go back to full-time work. I think she was part of the Doge group of cuts. That being said, again, I think she would be an asset to our commission. Thank you.
I have a question for you, Mike. If I'm not mistaken, you served on the revision committee last.
I was on it the last time, and I was on it the time
In
before that.
your opinion,
Yep.
7 or 9 people?
What would the quorum be?
5.
It would be 5 if it was 7.
No, 4.
5 if it was 9, 4 if it was 7.
I don't have an opinion, honestly.
Who's chair of it?
Mayor, I would
Okay.
recommend.
We don't have, we have to choose a chair.
I'd appoint the 9.
Okay. Yeah.
9 as well, because it would leave you with an odd number.
Correct.
Yeah, as long as we have an odd number.
Yeah.
And I would also note that I think if you do the 9, I'm trying to make sure all the party stuff works out, because I want to make sure I'm,
There's a lot of Ds and Us also, so. huh?
so yeah, it all balances out, because 3 of them would be Us.
Yeah. So I think when we looked at it, my recommendation, as I said, 9 versus 7 is only a quorum of additional 1 person.
Okay.
If I may, if you
Yeah,
have
so
any
that's not
problems
gonna
with
hurt
it,
us
go
one
by
way
the
or the
date
other.
they submitted their application, if there's gonna be close to something.
Well, let's start with, do we want 9 or 7? And then we can pick, if we want 9, then we can appoint everybody who's applied. If we want 7, then we need to pick 2 folks that we will not be approving.
I think we should go with the 9 rather than the 7,
Make a motion.
rather than
Can I make a
eliminate.
motion?
Yep.
I'd like to make a motion that we allow 9 individuals for participation on the charter revision.
Second.
Great. Motion made to have 9 on the charter revision, seconded by Brian. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries unanimously. And then, can I have a motion to appoint Anthony LaCava, Julius Netto, Douglas Weinman, Karen Durrenti, I don't know why that's giving me such a hard time, James Rood, our very own James Rood, and Marie Roberto, Dr. Marie Roberto, who served on it prior as well, twice, and I adore her. She's fantastic. Okay, motion
Second.
made, second by Brian. Any further discussion on that?
No, you got the whole 9 of them?
Yeah, that was all of
Okay.
them, right,
All right.
Amanda? 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's all 6 of them.
All right.
Motion made, seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Next, reappointment of Judy Benevento, Youth Advisory Board, for term ending 5/1/26.
James?
Benvenuto.
James.
Yeah, Benvenuto.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, Mike, go ahead.
One quick comment.
Yeah.
We
I have
need-
trouble with Italian
We
names.
need to have an organizational meeting so that we can choose a chair and a vice chair.
Yep.
The clock is ticking, so if there's any way at all that Amanda could schedule, basically next week or the
Yeah.
following week,
I-
as soon as possible.
I'm happy to have it scheduled for next week. I just won't be able to be there. I'll be in Hawaii. So
That's fine.
For my honeymoon. I'm sorry. It's my one and only honeymoon, hopefully.
Yeah, my goal is to have our first organizational meeting so that
Mike,
everybody can get a
Get
copy
in
of.
touch with our office, we'll give you a hand setting it up.
Yeah.
Okay,
But we gotta, I think there's a little bit of money in that account, at least enough for a couple months. And then, July 1st, there's, I think, 2,500.
okay. And also, Tony, it's kind of important that once we get on the ground and running, that we have access to town attorney, because I'm sure there are gonna be plenty of town attorney questions that need to be asked and answered. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Next, can I have a motion to approve Adrian Dunham to the LGBTQ committee. She's been attending meetings for 1 year. She works in higher education, and she is she is a Democrat. Oh, I thought she was an unaffiliated. She's a Democrat. She is unaffiliated. Okay. Okay, she's unaffiliated. And that doesn't, yeah, and that doesn't mess up the minority representation on that committee, because I think we have, okay, we have a couple unaffiliated and at least 1 or 2 Rs. Any further discussion on that?
You got 2 more?
Just 2 more, yep. Any further discussion on this one?
Make a motion approved.
Okay, motion to approve.
Second.
Seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention. Hearing none, all, it passed unanimously. Next, we have Judy Benevento, Benvenuto.
Nudo.
Benvenuto. I am just, give me a Greek name, I get it. I mean, it's bad. 2A, Youth Advisory 2026, 5-1. Any further discussion on that?
Nope.
Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. And then finally, item Q1, employee newsletters. I saw that we have started to do an employee newsletter for April and May. I think this is really nice. I think it's great that we are sending out the recognition of the employee. So was she employee of the month? Is just, or somebody that we would like to recognize?
So we've actually been doing employee newsletters for a while.
Okay,
But I just included the last 2.
I didn't even know this.
Because of the last meeting, when we were doing, highlighting an employee.
Okay, great, got it.
Are you talking about Jessica?
Yeah, I just didn't know she was employee of the month or not. Okay, but just highlighting, I got it.
She's doing a fabulous job well. Sarah is out on maternity leave.
Okay, I agree with that.
I just, if I may, Mr. Mayor, give a lot of credit. It started with Rosie, but Sherry Gianfrido has picked up on it and even made it better. And the employees seem to enjoy it.
Thank you, and please extend our thanks. I think it's important to build community. Any other informational items? Just so you all know, you're all invited to the Memorial Day Parade, which will be held on Friday, May 30th, 6 o'clock. That's a Friday. So just make sure that if you're able to attend, we normally have some a brief memorial service and celebration at the town green, and then we do a parade up Main Street, down New Lane, and then back down to Pearson Park. So if you're able to join, you get to march if you like. So, okay, we hearing anything, any other informational items? The car show. The Memorial Day, the car show is on the 23rd as well, at Pearson Park. It's at that same location as it was last year. I think Pearson Park